Welcoming you guys another episode of Third and Teal ahead of the Buffalo-Jacksonville Monday Night Football game. A little bit of a long week. So y'all saw we put out a shorter video. Got our shorts coming out still, and we got special guest RJ Lees on to represent the Bills. How you doing today, RJ?
Hey, doing wonderful, my man. Thank y'all so much for having me. I mean, getting ready for Monday Night Football. What can you beat?
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for coming on. Trevor, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. You know, I'm out of my recovery, pout about it stage. I'm very feeling optimistic because I did see a lot of good clips. I saw a lot of good things, but hopefully I like the attitude that's coming from the team, but we'll get into that later.
Especially player of the game, Monteric Brown. Eric, how you feeling?
Fuck Monteric.
There it is.
Fuck Monteric.
There it is right there. Player of the game, Monteric Brown. I'm doing wonderful, man. I'm ready to talk some football. It's been a busy day, and I'm ready to finish it off right here, right now. Let's do it.
Yeah, and I will say, now that I'm looking at the PFF grades and everything, you know, however much salt, smoke, whatever you want to call it, you give to that. Couple of positions for Buffalo I'm worried about, and a couple of positions for us that I'm worried about. I guess I'll ask you real quick because, of course, this was a big. How big of a hit was it to lose Matt Milano before the season?
I mean, that was like kind of the flesh and blood of the defense that we were all rooting for to get back in the swing of things, you know, and just kind of get back to similarity of like, all right, we lost some captains, we lost some veterans over the last 2 years, so now it's like, okay, Milano, full-on head leader, got to build around him and see what can happen. Losing him was a tough break. Now we know Terrell Bernard stepped up immensely at the end of last year, but now, of course, now he has a strained pec where it's not season-ending by any means, but I mean, the few weeks we are going to miss, it's a tough loss just to kind of see the defense pile on with injuries.
Yeah, man, and I see some of the backups y'all got. I see Spector, Williams, Morrow. Which of those guys are starters normally?
They've been kind of switching them up. We have a young guy in Dorian Williams that's
okay
starter with Bernard to start off the season. Most likely, I mean, you're going to see at most points they're almost going to play a big dime where they're going to have Cam Lewis as the nickel since we're also without Teron Johnson, and then kind of introduced himself to the world last Thursday, and Ingram kind of being kind of a bigger slot corner, making a few, of course, 2 interceptions, one being a pick 6 against Miami. So we're going to play a lot of actually big dime packages at one point, but we'll probably see Morrow kind of get in and kind of be the starter when it comes to the defense.
Okay. I got you. And I mean, for us, we're down with some injuries too. Tyson Campbell out week 1. Chance Darnell Savage doesn't play again this week.
No, Darnell's back.
Is he back? Because I know he's limited still.
Doug said he was full. Doug said he was full go today. I'm pretty sure that he was good. He wore Tank Bigsby wore the no contact thing, but I thought I saw Darnell was ready to go. The one that he did say that was a little further out is Evan Ingram.
Yeah, he confirmed that one. So we're definitely not getting Ingram back this week, which definitely hurts.
Well,
really
yeah, especially in the red zone.
Strange played well.
I often say I think they feel a little bit better about Strange right now after his performance Sunday. You know, because he did step up. Well. Yeah, he did step up and do his thing. So I think that's one of the reasons why they not. I think like Campbell, they're not trying to rush Ingram back right now. I think they're gonna just let it take it unless he's absolutely needed and Buffalo shuts our tight ends down, which is not going to happen. But anyway, yeah. So I think Strange and Farrell they'll handle business. They really will.
Yeah, Peterson's comment was, Sav, we're going to work him back into practice today and get him progressed. So hopefully he's available for Monday. So he's still questionable.
Right.
But we'll see.
But, playing Sunday
that's a great monologue there, Trevor. I'd like to hear it.
I was saying, I was looking at that the injury report post they make, like Mia O'Brien and then we'll put out.
Yeah.
Where they're watching him through. He was full go today and he didn't have the no contact sham on. So
okay. Well, that is good to hear.
Yeah.
Hopefully we have him.
Maybe Jarian will get some reps outside. We'll see.
Well, we know. Yeah. Maybe he'll replace Monteric for a hot minute.
Nah, I doubt it. If he didn't replace him week 1, he ain't replace him at all.
Well,
but they'll probably rotate more.
Someone to step up, man. You can see some wild things happen on Monday night.
Yeah, it's gonna be,
yes, we do know.
Filling some spots, and hopefully, we get some players back. But yeah, I mean, I'm just glad that a lot of them aren't season ending. That's really what I've been trying to hopefully avoid. We got some guys on IR that we were not expecting to be there. I will say, looking at this Buffalo team, outside of a couple of guys on defense, I'm not really too worried about them right now. Who's somebody I'm not thinking about that you think is not necessarily one of your top guys, but somebody to watch out for on the defense?
I mean, I'm kind of crossing my fingers to see if Dwayne Smoot can actually get up and healthy. He did miss the first 2 games. He's had a turf injury. But hey, Jaguar, has.
Hey, don't be mentioning my man Smoot in no Buffalo. Hey, I hated that move.
And I mean, y'all got Gabe Davis. I totally understand offense. Hopefully, he might be one of the bigger targets y'all need to use, especially with Ingram out. But defensively, I mean, there's some key pieces I'm kind of ready for. I mean, Damar Hamlin has actually really stepped up and showed pretty good, especially the PFF grades. Everything that he's done so far, starting as the starting safety. Linebackers, like I said, it's going to be a rotating bodies. Williams is more of like a run stuffer. So that's the only thing I'm kind of scared of, where if Ingram was to play this game, I mean, I would kind of go on his overs. I would have him kind of be like a, star player for the game. But with him being out, I hope, we could kind of keep the detain on defense, because right now, I mean, Jacksonville, they haven't had many big plays, and their offensive scoring right now, if Buffalo just keeps on where they're averaging 32 points a game, I'm kind of cool with that.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think you're going to keep up the 32-point thing, because our defense has actually been really good. Our defense has been really good, but we are missing some people, so that's a thing to watch. But I'm going to ask you this. Are you familiar with a man named Brian Thomas Jr.? Because that guy is nuts.
I love that guy.
Oh, dude, he is nuts. And I just, I know that you're probably not watching the after game conferences like we are, because it's not your team. You don't really care, what's going on with us intermittently, But I can tell you, this is a pissed off team coming to Buffalo. They are livid right now. They are really pissed off. And I think that they're going back and watching the tape, and they're seeing just how many more of those big plays Brian Thomas had. Because Brian Thomas has gotten separate. He has a 93 or 94% win rate on his routes. The entire time. He's first amongst all rookie wide receivers right now, because he cooks that hard. He's crazy. He really is. And I worry that Jordan Poyer was the best thing y'all had before this season, obviously, to kind of combat a Brian Thomas Jr. with safety help and stuff like that. Who do you think is capable of running with him and staying there with him,
I mean, we do got, I mean, right now the safeties are, I mean, Damar Hamlin, and then we have Taylor Rapp, who was, with the Rams a few years ago when they won the Super Bowl. So that's what we got to say. He's more of a box safety, a little closer to the line, want to make some plays, great for a tackle for loss every once in a while. But to get on top of it, I mean, it really has to see. We got to see, especially our corners are even big with Rasul Douglas and then Benford. I mean, both our corners are, 6'1", 6'2", in the high 210s. So they have almost wide receiver builds. So to run against Brian Thomas Jr., I'm a little scared. Is that the one thing that Buffalo's defense is really good at? They don't allow a lot of deep passes, no matter who they've been with. I mean, in the last 4 years, I mean, I know it's a little different body type, but Tyreek Hill, actually the team he performs worst against is Buffalo, just because kind of how they play the two safeties most of the time are going to be back.
Yeah. You guys have a lot of shell coverages.
Yeah.
Little plays, especially with linebackers. I mean, there might be some crossing routes that go big. There might be, the tight end up the seam route that they are vulnerable to. I'm not going to lie on that. But actually just chucking it deep, I'm pretty sure that's the one thing that our coach Sean McDermott can handle. Yeah,
Sean McDermott's been really good with that. You guys run a lot of schemes, and you do a lot of you do a lot of disguised looks in the secondary, especially with your safeties. he were really good with that with Jordan Poyer because he pull in real low, but he was able to close that ground really quickly. But then the next thing I'd ask is, I'll say this: Trevor Lawrence, when he has time, is an absolute threat to any defense in the league. It does not matter if he right now has the lowest time in the pocket because our offensive line has been atrocious. Okay, but they have shown they're capable of pulling it together too. So it's really hit or miss what offensive line is going to step on the field because they change every drive. It seems like one drive they'll come out and they're blocking solid. The next drive they're wet paper. But what do you see from your defensive line and maybe your front seven that can get Trevor down? Because if you don't get him down, he's going to make a play. And he's really good at that. And it's basically like Josh Allen does. If you don't get him to the ground, he's going to extend the play until he has a play.
The only thing I'm offensive line, there's been some plays, they've been solid at some points. Of course, the big play, when you allow just, no time for the quarterback to get settled in, a sack that gets you down on, third and long, it's tough to see. But tell you the truth, it's more the coaching, I think, on y'all's part. Some of these bubble screens, some of these like quick games,
we agree.
He's not getting comfortable by any means. And
we agree.
Yeah.
They're not working him into a rhythm. But so one thing I saw them say, which I'll get your opinion on that too, since you're paying attention to that, that's nice to know because that is one of our bigger things. It's just harder to talk about with other teams, fans, and representatives of other teams because they typically aren't watching close enough to know. But one thing that was pointed out was they're probably trying to do this short screen and bubble pop passes because the offensive line can't hold for a deep forming play. They usually can't do it. Like every time you've seen that, we have to go beyond the sticks. If we have to go beyond the sticks, we're probably screwed, honestly, because the play has to develop and they can't do it. Not AJ, sorry. Cam Robinson, I was thinking of AJ Terrell beating the crap out of him last year. It was just a perfect example of what I was thinking about. But anyway, Cam Robinson's a turnstile. We saw that all last weekend. Like you literally run right to you hit him in the left shoulder, he's folding to the left, and you're just going to bend him around. Completely flexible. And we all know that short screen game doesn't work. But the one time Trevor had time in the pocket to breathe, it's like a 70-yard bomb to Brian Thomas again. Like Brian Thomas has got like 180-something yards on the season, and he's only got like 2 or 3, maybe 4 receptions.
Yeah, down the deep ball, man. I mean, that is one thing. Like I said, I mean, that just uncorks the offense, gets everything rolling. Defensive line, though, wise for Buffalo, for sure. I mean, right now, they're only dressing 4 defensive tackles. So they're a team that is depending on kind of like the bigger edge play, which Greg Rousseau, one of the biggest defensive ends in the league. AJ Epinesa is just a big body. And the only
Epinesa's a freak.
guy is Von Miller coming off, a horrible year last year. Now, he did get some speed pressure, and of course, against Miami, I mean, dominated Austin Jackson at right tackle. So that's the only thing when he comes in kind of, guns a-blazing, especially against Harrison, man. I'm kind of ready I think Buffalo has some counter punches. I think Ed Oliver is a guy that's really going to step up and show like a Pro Bowl year. It's kind of his chance to kind of get it on defensive line.
Okay. I can see the Ed Oliver case, and Epinesa is a freak of nature. I remember that from last year and the year before. Even though, for some reason, the Jaguars have always had the Bills number for recent memory. I don't know what it is. We could be in our lowest of lows and our slump of all slumps, and we still somehow beat Josh Allen because Josh Allen seems to play as bad as whoever he plays. That seems to be his curse.
That's one thing for sure. And so I grew up in Orlando, Florida. The only really times I saw Buffalo games growing up was when they played Jacksonville and when they played Miami. And that is one thing I got to give y'all credit at. And even Josh Allen's only played him 3 times in his career. And tell you the truth, it's some of the worst splits that he has where he's averaging, 260 yards passing. That's totally fine. But in the 3 games, he has 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And I mean, just really hasn't been showing up. Now, Jacksonville has done some impressive things, especially, last year with Aluakon, at the linebacker position, stalwart any sort of crossing routes that we had, which I always thought of him originally as more of like a run stuffing, just kind of like a tackling machine. But man, see him actually read Josh Allen where he did kind of have to do the pump fake, move around the pocket and try to make too much happen, put on that Superman cape. It is impressive to see. So this is a matchup I'm not taking lightly by any means.
Though it's funny you bring up, and not in a bad way. It's funny you bring up Aluakin, and you did not mention Devin Lloyd, because Devin Lloyd is currently the number 2 rated linebacker in the league overall. He has an 89, and this is news to me. I didn't realize he was playing this good, and he's definitely gotten better every year. Okay. In year 3, though, he is at an 89.9 coverage grade so far. Okay. He has a 83 run grade and a 69.1 pass rush, but he's a 90.4 overall rating. Not sure how all those numbers equal out to that, but I'll take it. He's actually taken 16 snaps from the slot corner position. So that's weird, even though
normal, man. That's hilarious.
It's absolutely PFF going. Whatever PFF couch potato guy that's ranking it is like, he's outside the tackle and kind of close to that receiver. That's a slot corner right there. Number 33. No,
right.
No, it's been really encouraging, I think, too, because like Abdullah and Muma on limited snaps have been playing well. I think our linebacking core in general is probably one of the best in the league in terms of like 2 players with a supplement player, because we've got number 2 Lloyd and then we have number 10 Aluakan right now in the rankings in terms of how they're graded out.
Talent line, no question for sure.
Yeah, and then of course Hines Allen is also ranked number 6th right now in terms of rating. He hasn't been like blowing up the stat sheet on the sacks, but he's been getting a decent bit of pressure, kind of like he always does. But yeah, man, it's
he also
front
gets
7.
Like him.
Yeah, he does. But that front 7, that's what I think is going to match up with the Bills the best in terms of like how we can win this game. That front 7 with Lloyd Aluakin and whoever's playing that third linebacker spot, Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker, all the guys, we got to stop James Cook. Because I don't know that the Bills are high powered enough with their receiving core right now, and they're young, and that definitely plays a role in that. I think another year or 2, and they're going to be right back up there with Keon Coleman as he develops, Kincaid as he gets a little better, and Shakir as he gets some more reps under his belt. But I think this game specifically with the current Buffalo Bills, we got to blow up those guards. I mean, Torrance is the worst rated guard right now in the league. We got to blow up that interior offensive line, make James Cook, and he's dangerous outside the tackles, but we've got some good tackling corners. We need to make sure that middle of the field is stuffed up as good as possible, which we have not been doing great. I'll be honest. Cleveland was going up the middle every play and killing us until later in the game.
Like he owned our field.
Yes. So
well,
Cleveland, I was laughing. I mean, they brought out Deontay Foreman just to make
sure. Bro.
Hey,
yeah.
We found the weakness, and I'm not 100% sure. I don't think Buffalo's really. We're more of a mesh offense where we want to do
yeah, exactly,
patterns and everything. So we don't really have. I mean, Ray Davis, we could kind of see if he could step up. I mean, being only his 3rd game of his NFL career, but we don't have the guys that just run straight up the middle the whole time. So we kind of make a little more finesse plays while, I mean, Jacksonville, especially the way they run to the ball, we can really see, kind of more of a slow pace, kind of a closer game than a lot of people expect.
Yeah, I think we gotta force them to throw.
Yeah, I think important matchup is going to be our defensive front against Josh Allen and his scrambling. Y'all know me. I'm always worrying about a scrambling quarterback because they hurt us more than anything else a lot of times. Like last week, Deshaun, and because we have to be disciplined. We have to be disciplined to win this game. If not, Josh Allen, he can kill you with his legs sometimes better than his arms. So I think that's what we really have to pay attention to.
Multiple plays last week where we had 2 players lined up in the B gaps and no one in the A gaps, no one at all. Like what? You're just asking for that quarterback to run right up the middle as soon as something comes open, because then they're going outside. They got a linebacker staying, in the close drop, but it's like even a linebacker in a close drop, that's if a quarterback gets decisive about it and goes, that's 4 or 5 yards of play easy where you can slide, you can't touch him. Our protection against quarterbacks is, historically been bad, honestly, against running quarterbacks. We've typically kept Josh Allen under wraps, and I think that's because they make such a big emphasis against him.
Right.
But, we said we were doing an emphasis last week. They talked about it. They said they were doing an emphasis to keep contain on Deshaun Watson, and we didn't. And that's why they weren't going as deep upfield whenever they're having these pass rush drops. But, I think that we got to keep at least one person. One of those. We have like 6 guys in the roster over 300 pounds. We got to keep one of them in an A gap at all times, because if we just open up the middle like that, or we do these freaking splits that have us go outside A, C, and we got somebody coming from a wide 9 and nobody up the middle, Josh Allen's going to kill us up the middle, or they're just going to push James Cook up the middle, because they'll take the opportunity. They're smart enough. That coaching staff is smart enough that if we're giving up the middle of the line, they're gonna run James Cook between the tackles if they need to up the middle if we're giving that up. And we have, and that's what happened last game too. Deonta Foreman, old Derrick Henry Jr. back in the day when they drafted him over there in Tennessee.
Yeah.
That man, I remember. The reason I remember Deonta Foreman is because in his rookie season, if I'm not mistaken, on Madden, he had 77 speed. He is slow as shit, but he's huge. He's strong. We used to think Henry was slow too, and then he started busting off these 90-yard runs, hitting 21 miles an hour, and we were like, "Oh crap, okay, this boy can move." But
yeah, Henry's moving.
But yeah, no, with Cook, like I said, I think we need to stop him, force Josh Allen to throw a little bit more. We can't give up anything. That's typically what we've been doing. Is we've been, for some reason, like, we find somewhere that we stop really well, but then we give something else up on like it's almost like it's on purpose. We're like, we don't care about this for this game. We're going to make sure we do this. And it's like, well, you kind of got to do both. You can't just give up the other thing. So it's going to be interesting. We definitely got to get pressure, like you said, Eric, and we got to get after Josh Allen, which we typically do in these games. Josh Hines Allen typically has 1 or 2 sacks every time we play him.
Yeah, he takes this shit personally. I'm not gonna lie. He takes this game personally.
So it'll be the first time
interception that he had, where it's like, through to himself. Oh no, that's a pick. Oh my.
Yeah, it'll be the first time that the Josh Allen on Josh Allen crime will not be happening. It will be Josh Hines Allen on Josh Allen. It's going to be interesting. Now, if Josh Allen has a good game, JHA got to go and change his name back that night. I don't care. he better be camping outside to get his name changed back, because that just means he lost his mojo. No, but I'm excited for this game. I think there's a lot of ways for each team to win, a lot of ways for each team to lose. Inconsistent O-line play is going to be a big one for both teams, I think. And honestly, it's a big thing in the league this year. Like Mitch Morse, he's rated at like a 70 or a 68.6 at center, and he's the 11th rated center. That's pretty damn low. I mean, and like all we lost was what? Kelsey. Kelsey's the only major center that retired. And these numbers are down, man. I don't know if the defensive lines are just getting better. I don't know if the offensive lines are just getting worse. I don't know what's going on.
Well, I tell you, most defenses are playing more exotic type fronts now. It's just not the regular front four coming at you. They got twists and turns and curls and, diving over the center or what have you. I mean, it's just a unique time for defense, especially the front, and I think that's causing a lot of problems throughout the NFL. In fact, some people want to get rid of the too high safety. They're saying they stay too far back now, so it and I think it's slowing the big play potential down for most teams, unless it's just a breakdown in coverage.
Yeah, I was about to say, because we've been running cover one 52% of snaps this year.
Yeah.
52%. That is much higher than anybody else for cover one. And that has caused us to have, not that, but there's been a couple plays that have broken down due to similar things like that. We are running man coverage like 78% of the time right now.
Well, yeah, think about it. It's harder to in the NFL to drive 70, 80 yards every drive, just dinking and dunking, compared to hitting that one big play and getting that big old chunk of yardage. So, yeah, and defensive, that's what a lot of them are doing now. They go, as they say, matriculate to down the line, down the field. Because if you watch most quarterbacks today, because looking at film, most of them take 3-4 step drops and the ball is out half the time, most of the time. Miami, they did it. Even the Browns last week did it to us. It's just that quick hit and eventually catch you sleeping because defense get relaxed. Then next thing you know, you got the big one coming over the top. That's why most teams keep them 2 safeties back there, 800 yards behind everybody. So, but with that being said, that does leave holes in the defense to be exploited if the quarterbacks can get time to throw the ball.
No, you're right on that, my man. Sorry for interrupting. But no, with
That's okay.
everything what's going on, I mean, that's the best game we've seen from Jerry Jeudy. And I mean, since college, it seems like kind of getting open with these quick draws and everything that he kind of got a rhythm with Deshaun Watson. And you're seeing a lot more running. I mean, just in general, where this is the less amount of passing touchdowns we've had in the first 2 weeks since like 2009.
Right. Yeah.
So that now that the defense finally advanced to kind of stop these big, deep balls and kind of like the inseams where it's like kind of the middle of the field. Now you're kind of seeing, hey, you know what? If we can run now where most of the teams right now are averaging close to 4.5 to 5 yards a carry. I mean, you take that every time, and that's how you got to matriculate to, guess what?
Yeah, that word.
Yeah, but there you go. And
the word he just
got to
used.
score at these points because now, I mean, these kickers are automatic. It seems like so. That's one thing you're just going to see scoring. It might just be a little slower pace, but it don't matter as long as you get the W at the end of the day.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the Bills would not have that Monday night. It was Stalin.
Hey, just Jacksonville, 0-3. You're going to see traffic.
I couldn't resist that.
0-3 is not happening.
I mean, I hope it doesn't, but if it does, we all know who's going to be. He's not even going to be on the hot seat. He's going to be on the boiling seat. It's yeah. I'm gonna be
honest with you. I don't think it's going to happen. I think I'm gonna be honest with here's the thing. I think this is definitely the least talented Bills roster we've faced in the last 3 years. I'm not saying that they're not still good, but I do think this is the least talented roster, and we've been able to manage it anyway. Like, even with the more talented rosters, and we've still been able to manage. We now have a defense that is, even with its shortcomings, still 10 times better than what we've ever had, like, against the Bills in the past 3 years. And everything we just noted that's like a knock or a diss on our defense is still not even close to, like, the whole story because they still kept us in the game by themselves. Like, they were crazy. They were still all over the field. They were still making plays every time it was available, most of the time. Now, when the scheme was kind of a little mixed up and we got people moving around, because I think one thing that played bigger into it than we anticipated is our people that we didn't expect to play not knowing exactly where to be. And I think that's how you had open A gaps and you had stuff like that and you had breakdowns and such like that. I think Ryan Nielsen is a very in-your-face, like we've seen it. I don't think that. I know that. He's going to correct that. That is going to be corrected. It does not matter. That will be corrected. So you think we correct a little bit of mistakes, and they're already playing lights out. They held the fastest team in the league to 20 points. I mean, these guys are playing lights out. Now, you guys also held them pretty bad, but Tua played like shit and then got knocked the fuck out. So
yeah,
by himself on DeMar Hamlin.
Yeah, by himself. How ironic on DeMar Hamlin. But anyway, you guys also held him, but that was not the same Miami team that played us in week 1. They I don't know what I don't know what transpired, but they were not the same team at all. But either way, Josh Allen's
you have
campaign. Josh Allen is taking over that Bills team because he has to, really. I mean, as far as like what to do, because James Cook can only do so much before they know that it's only going to James Cook and they shut that down. And you already expressed that you know that you guys cannot run it up the middle every time because you don't have the offensive line for it. So, I mean, Josh Allen has to take over. But that being said, I think our offense at this point is the offense. That's the thing. This is what stings the most about it. The plays are there sometimes. We just don't have the time. Like, the plays are there. You can see them. They're right there. Like, Brian Thomas Jr. is wide open so many times for and I'm talking like 99% of these times I'm talking about are 20, 30 yards plus. He's just busting the shit out of these big yardage and just creating space. But Trevor, like, I think we said the time was what, 1 point something seconds before he has to have the ball out of his hand? With
1.1 before the pocket collapses.
1.1
before the pocket collapses. He's got 1.1 second before the pocket collapses. Who is getting the ball out and downfield in that time? I'm going to tell you who. No one.
You know the best part about it, though? The coaches have to know these analytics and we're running a play where the shortest route is 15 yards while on the 1 yard line.
That's my
Our
thing.
own 1 yard line.
That's my thing. And I think Doug knows.
Yeah.
I think I could see it from Doug's mannerisms in the press conferences and stuff. Doug knows that this is his ass. He knows. Doug knows he's out of here if he fucks this up. Now, I'm not talking about specifically this Bills game, but if he tanks this season, or if this season does not end in a playoff run, he's out of here. And I think he knows it. So that being said, I know that after watching some of the tape, Eric, you can tell me what you think too. I went back and I watched some of those games that Press was calling again. I've been watching clips, and I do that every week because I know we're still in the who's calling plays thing, because really we don't definitively know.
Right.
There's a lot of Press Taylor-esque plays in there, man. A lot of shit that's got Press Taylor written right on it. Now, there's a lot of shit that has Doug Peterson written on it too. You know they're giving each other input. But
Exactly.
A lot of those plays have Press Taylor like literally in bold letters written on it. But, you know, I'll say this.
I agree.
Doug also knows that Shad Khan said that if this were I would want to be in control of my own destiny, which inadvertently says call the fucking plays or get the hell out.
Well,
right, like,
I still believe that Press Taylor is calling, but Doug has a lot of input into it. Without a doubt, because he's always standing on side time with the list in front of his face.
Waffle House menu, baby.
Yep, talking in his headset. And I think sometimes he's overruling and calling the plays. I really do. But basically, he's using Press as a cover for what he's doing.
I think
it's not working, huh?
He's scapegoating Press.
Yeah,
because I mean, you know, I've never seen him get this defensive whenever people ask him about the play calling. Like, because in the past, he's like, oh, you know, it doesn't really matter, blah, blah, blah. We didn't say anything. Like, he has gotten, like, overly defensive this year whenever anybody's asked about the play calling whatsoever. I think it's him. And I think that it's because they got a press box cam up there that shows everything the offensive coordinator does, and they didn't want videos of him sitting there doing this with his hands crossed.
Well, Press is on the sideline now, right?
That's what I'm saying. I don't think they wanted I don't think they wanted a live feed of Press Taylor going like this, looking at nothing, doing nothing up there.
Okay.
I think he wants Press Taylor down there so they can say they made a change, but I think Doug Peterson's calling the plays 75, 90% of the time. There'd be no reason for him to get that upset about them asking, besides the fact that that's his baby. I mean, and the big thing is no matter who's calling plays, you know, you breastfeed a kid, you teach it, you do everything, you homeschool it for years, you know, they're going to walk, talk, and look just like you at the end of the day. So, you know, who is it? We don't know, but realistically, you go back and watch probably Philly games. They're probably called very similarly. They just had they had 3 Hall of Fame offensive linemen to move people and block and do that. So it worked.
You know what, though? And just come back from looking at the film. I think the offense is also having growing pains with the new receivers and Trevor. I don't think they're there yet, because on one pass, when he threw to Gabe Davis, it was an out route and he overthrew it. And you have to really watch to see it. But while Gabe Davis was on the sideline, he like did one of these like throw the ball because he was upset about it. You know, I don't know whether that was at Trevor or he just couldn't catch the ball.
You're talking about that one out to the left late in the game?
Yeah.
High.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was something upset about that. And there was another instance where, we was doing the final drive and he threw the ball and BTJ caught it. But if you look,
when they bumped into each other,
yeah, they were right there. And if you look throughout the film of that game anyway, a lot of receivers were running damn near side by side the same route. You know, so I'm thinking there's a little bit more communication need to be done and Christmas. So hopefully they're correcting that. If I can see it, I know the coaches can see it, and I'm sure that they're not running routes that close together. You just can't bring the coverage in.
I'm glad you bring that up because I actually watched that play and posted it for somebody on Twitter because they mentioned like, I'm wait till the all 22 comes out and they didn't have it posted yet, so I went over it. It looks to me like on that play specifically, Gabe Davis and Brian Thomas Jr. were meant to go up and then turn around and sit and wait for the ball. Mm-hmm. Gabe Davis gets to the top of his route, makes his turn like he's going to turn in, and then he looks straight back at Trevor in the offensive line and starts like lingering over towards Brian Thomas Jr. And when Trevor threw that ball, he thought it was coming for him, so he never even looked over there to see if BTJ was there, because you watch his head all the way through. He's staring back at Trevor in the O-line. He never even looks over for BTJ. And then also too on the play where they were backed up in the end zone for the safety, they had the two wide receivers on the right basically ran the exact same deep end. They were like 2 or 3 yards away from each other. Right. It makes no sense. Right. You know, like something's going on, and you're right. Yeah, absolutely. From watching that more, now that you bring it up, it just clicked a little bit more for me. But something's definitely going on where somebody's not running the right route, whether it be BTJ, Gabe Davis, or maybe they're trying to make things happen that they're not supposed to. Maybe they're not doing their job, or they get to the top of the route. And one thing we're not used to seeing as well, which definitely some of the routes were too close, and it was definitely the route. Something we're not used to seeing is players, like when they finish their route, trying to get open and find a way. Right. I know Gabe Davis was famous for that up there in Buffalo. Every once in a while he get a broken play or he blow the top off because he gets to the end of his route and be like, oh shit, I'm not open, nobody's open, and then Josh Allen starts moving around and Gabe Davis runs down the field. Brenton Strange, to like about him, Brenton Strange finishes his route and he gets open, he finds something. You know, but
BTJ does the same thing.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting kind of seeing that.
Quick question for y'all. I'm just curious, like, what when Trevor Lawrence is like really in a rhythm, who's his go-to guy? Because it seems like with all these plays, everything's 15 yards down the field. Everything needs time. Everything's to these big receivers. Christian Kirk hasn't been getting the targets I've been kind of like watching and seeing. Is he going to the tight end? Is he just looking right away for the drop-off to Travis Etienne? Because now it goes to both teams, yours and mine, where a rhythm is really important for a quarterback, especially the big playmaking guys that we have that want to kind of ad-lib and make the huge play right after. You got to get in the rhythm first, or else none of that's going to work.
Yeah, and I will say that from my perspective, and I think that there's a lot more designed to go to Christian Kirk than what has gone to Christian Kirk. I think Trevor this year has just gotten better about not forcing the ball on some occasions, and then sometimes he falls back into it and forces it into places he shouldn't be. Because, like, if you watch him, a lot of the time he's looking at Christian Kirk first. He's his first or second read. And then also too, like he even said in a press conference, like, you know, some of that stuff, you know, was meant to go to Christian, but he wasn't open or something didn't line up right, or, you know, we got to find a way to get him the ball more. But Christian Kirk just doesn't have the same explosiveness this year.
Yeah, he hasn't shown back up.
Like people have been keeping very close on him. He has not been getting much of any separation this year where he was getting in the previous years. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if teams are him more than like BTJ and Gabe Davis right now, and they're keeping a bigger eye on him. They're having a linebacker carry him to a safety or to a nickel corner or something, or I don't know what's going on with that. He just has not been getting the same separation and the same explosiveness that he has in the past. And I think that, you know, it's weird though, because Trevor hasn't really gotten a rhythm with anybody. But he throws to Gabe Davis the most out of all of them, and he throws to Brenton Strange a lot. And so it's been kind of weird. Like Gabe Davis, he's dropped a couple, but he's been one of his primary targets. And, you know, we talked about this last episode, all these rookie wide receivers are getting 12, 13, 15, 20 targets a game. BTJ is getting like 4 to 5. You know, it makes no sense. And, you know, he's a guy we got to, if he needs to get into a rhythm with anybody, it's Brian Thomas Jr. He runs a 4.31 or whatever he ran at the combine. He's 6'3", 207 pounds, 210 pounds, whatever he is. Like, he's shown us in both games that he can get open down the field against, you know, pretty good level corners. So, I mean, I don't know, man. You're right, though. Absolutely. The rhythm is just not there. And I think that his, you know, old steady and faithful Christian Kirk and, you know, Evan Ingram just aren't there right now. Evan Ingram's hurt. Christian Kirk is on the field, but we don't know where he is. He had 1 reception last game on 3 targets for -1 yards. I don't really know what's going on with him. I feel like, I don't know if Trevor's lost some trust in him, because whenever he does throw it to him, he drops the ball.
I would have lost fucking trust.
Yeah, they've got 4 drops so far this year on the season. And
last year
between him and Kirk.
Or 5, I'm sorry. It's 5 drops on the year for the whole team. But
I'm sorry, what'd you say, RJ?
No, that's similar to last year, man. Y'all fortunate. And I don't know if the importance of a true slot receiver will help, but That's the thing, man. If you keep making the plays, no matter what coaching quarterback, if it hits your hands and it's dropped, it's just tough to see. And to see it already happening going into week 3, I mean,
yeah,
something got to change. And I mean, y'all are talented enough where, like I said, I'm intimidated for sure, just because I know about the past matchups. But right now, I just have trust in Josh Allen making a play more than Trevor Lawrence kind of willing that team to victory.
I'm gonna be. That's one thing I will say is like, so as far as like you brought up the target thing, Christian Kirk, I made a short about it. Hold on a second. I made a short about it, about how I didn't think Christian Kirk was really going to show back up completely and how I was worried about it. And caught a lot of flack for that because basically we just said that Parker Washington is the next man up essentially in that role in our offense. But anyway, Christian Kirk dropping the ball doesn't help. He doesn't have the time to get it to Brian Thomas because they're sending Brian Thomas on deep routes 90% of the time because he's got the speed and he makes the separation. They know. Here's the thing. Like, I know it sounds cocky to say it, but like it's proven. We've seen it multiple times now. If Trevor has maybe 2.5 seconds, 3 seconds in the pocket, Brian Thomas Jr. is open for a 30-yard plus almost every time. He's just getting the line to get there. I don't think this, like, I think, Eric, you're right about the chemistry part, but I think that's between the receivers and not Trevor and the receivers. I think that's the receivers. We haven't seen the line hold up well enough for him to get the ball to him and them catch it enough to see if they have the chemistry or not.
Okay.
We don't even
know.
That's
a fair assessment. Okay.
Yeah, we don't even know if Trevor, like, we don't know what that is because the offensive line never gives them the damn opportunity to do it. Now, we've seen when Trevor has a split second of time, he's getting the ball out and he's getting it to the right people, and we're making consistently 15, 20-yard gains. Like, he's not just short dumping it when he has time.
True.
Anyway, yeah, we're not just short dumping it. So, if we have just a split second longer and they start catching the ball, because that's like we talked about. You said the unfortunate part. It is very unfortunate because Trevor's the one catching all the flack for this too. Trevor's the one catching all the heat. Like, oh, it's Trevor's fault. It's Trevor this, Trevor that. I don't know how you could look at this team. It's just like I said the same thing when people give Josh Allen slander and say, oh, well, Josh Allen's the reason the Bills choke in the playoffs. There's one game that Josh Allen absolutely choked in the playoffs. The rest of it, they just got beat by a team that wanted it more. I mean, honestly, it's essentially what it comes down to. Josh Allen is a great quarterback. That's why he is where he is and does what he does. He is a great quarterback. And Trevor Lawrence, dude, if you give him just a split second, I don't know how everybody just ignores the two. You have two important things about quarterback success: offensive line play and your receivers. You can't throw it, block, and catch it yourself. And right now, neither one of the other two are showing up. That's what it comes down to. But I think, honestly, the attitude we've seen from them following the loss to Cleveland, I think the aggravation, the anger, and they've got something to be. They're fighting with anger now.
I would hope so.
That's something we didn't see from them. They were walking in just kind of like, yeah, we expect to be okay. We're gonna do okay. It'll be fine.
Well,
man, hear you there.
We'll have to see. I mean, man, they're saying the right things. I think as we talked about Monday, we're hearing Trevor say things he hasn't said in the last 3 years. All right, and which is good. I mean, they understand what we're seeing now is the same thing we saw the last 5 to 6 games last year, and it just wasn't good enough. And I'm glad they're not accepting it. Now, the question becomes, are they going to adjust, fix it, or are we going to keep trying to make this same old nothing work? Because we do have Doug Peterson, and I think that is the ultimate question. Because the talent is there. We've seen it. You know what I mean? We have seen it. So even the first 2 games, we've seen glimpses. So, yeah. But we see. I hope RJ didn't leave. I know he said he was running short on time.
Well, if he did, just in case, shout out to RJ for real one for coming on.
No,
Oh no, he's back.
Okay, he back. Okay.
Yeah, well,
All right.
yeah, I mean, and I think that's a pretty good place to wrap it up. I mean, we've said a lot of what we wanted to say about the game. RJ, do you have any closing thoughts before you get out of here, brother?
So just two quick things. One, I mean, I know it's the little kind of like the calendar thing of happening, but Monday night at home coming off 10 days rest, y'all. It's a lot of stuff that's leading toward. I mean, Buffalo is the favorite for a reason, being 2-0. Now, Buffalo could have easily lost against Arizona. We all saw that. And I mean, pretty much, gave up a good quality win over the Miami Dolphins. So this is going to be a closer game than people think. I'm excited to see it. I know Christian Kirk has did really good against Buffalo the last few times he faced us. So I'm ready for him to kind of explode because I am a fan of him as a player. And I just want to see, kind of the counter punch for Buffalo. I think they can win with Josh Allen being the favorite. Last week we saw kind of, James Cook do everything he needed to do to step up. Now it's time for a wide receiver kind of step up. Y'all need to make some catches. Buffalo needs to throw more to receivers to kind of make them happen. I hope this is an exciting, high-scoring game, man. And it's all good for Monday night. It's going to be the first Monday night game, and I'm not leaving that by any means.
Yeah, man. Well,
cool.
Absolutely. You boys got anything else to say?
Duval.
Yeah. That's it. Duval. Yeah, we got it. You can't
all right, man. Well, thanks for coming on. Shout out to Worm as always. If y'all are still here, like, subscribe, look out for the shorts that are coming, and y'all have a good night.
All right. Thanks, RJ.